Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into Maui car rental prices. Specifically, we're looking at the Veterans Day 2025 travel peak using data right up to November 9th. Okay, so the headline here seems to be stability, but maybe not the good kind. Prices didn't jump much this week, but that's after a big surge last week. We're definitely sitting at, well, high season levels for rentals out of Kahului Airport, OGG.
Yeah, exactly. And high season levels, I mean, you really need to understand the scale of this. We're talking premiums that are, frankly, pretty shocking if you're planning a trip. Across the board, really, every single category is way above its 52-week median price. Just look at SUVs. Right now, they're going for about $1,018 a week.
Wow, okay, over $1,000.
Right, and that's 123% premium over the median, which is usually around $457.
Yeah.
Even, the supposedly budget auction economy cars. $548 a week. That's still 104% over its median of $269.
Double the typical price. I mean, is that just pure demand or is something else going on? Does it feel rational?
Well, it certainly signals very strong demand. We can see that looking week over week. Most car types were pretty flat price-wise, but convertibles, they actually saw a pretty noticeable drop,
Oh, really? How much?
about 23% down. So now around $919 a week from places like Avis.
Okay, a 23% drop is pretty significant. What happened there? Just less demand suddenly.
It looks like a supply thing,
Yeah.
actually. A perfect example of how more cars ease the pressure. Seems like some new convertible inventory hit the lots, got put into service,
Mm.
and that immediately calmed things down in that specific category.
Interesting. So supply can still make a difference, even with overall high demand.
Absolutely. And if you zoom out, look, year over year, the demand story becomes even clearer. Prices in every category are higher now compared to this time last year. SUVs are up 108%, minivans up 54%. It really suggests that, visitor numbers are bouncing back strongly after the Lahaina wildfires back in August 23.
Right, that recovery context is key. And it brings us to, I think, the most important point for anyone listening who's planning a trip. When should you actually book the car? Because for a long time, from February through, early October, last-minute deals were often cheaper.
Yeah, that was the trend. But holding on to that assumption now, it's costing travelers a lot. With demand this strong, that whole last-minute strategy, it's completely flipped. Waiting now carries a hefty penalty.
Can you give us an example? Like, how much penalty are we talking?
Sure. Take a rental starting November 10th, so basically immediate. If you booked it just one day ahead, the price was $548. But if you'd booked that exact same rental 5 weeks ago, only $312.
Wow, that's a 75% difference.
Exactly. That's basically the price you pay for waiting, for that stress. It's huge.
Okay, so booking way in advance is crucial again. But what if you are traveling soon, like next week? Is there any way to save money now? Well, the data suggests the biggest opportunity right now is actually renting off airport, what we call off OGG. So the local spots, not right at the terminal. Those off-airport prices, they really moderated this week, came down quite a bit. And the savings can be pretty spectacular. Take that economy car again. It was $548 at the airport, right? Off OGG. $234. That's a 57% saving just by taking a shuttle. Even for something like a Jeep, you're saving 14%. That feels like the main actionable tip this week.
And what's really interesting there is that uniformly lower pricing off OGG, it's actually a shift. For a while after the wildfires, remember, the supply off airport was so tight that sometimes prices, especially for Jeeps and specialty stuff, were actually higher than at the airport.
Right, I remember that.
So seeing everything cheaper off airport again, that's a good sign. A sign of stabilization in the local market, too.
And here's a little surprising fact that came out of this. With these lower off-airport prices, Maui actually retakes its spot as the cheapest major Hawaiian island to rent a car, at least for now. Our latest weekly check shows $234 as the lowest price on Maui versus $243 in Honolulu.
Yeah, who would have thought? Okay, so looking forward, what does the forecast tell us? The advanced reservation data is pretty clear. Prices look set to drop pretty significantly right after this Veterans Day peak. For the week starting November 17th, we're seeing OGG prices around $250.
Okay, so a dip is coming right after the holiday.
Right, but then the forecast shows prices climbing steadily again, week by week, heading towards mid-December.
So wrapping this up, what's the key takeaway for someone planning travel, especially with Thanksgiving and the December holidays creeping up?
Given that expected climb, and honestly, the very real possibility of another big spike around Thanksgiving, we saw that kind of roller coaster last fall, remember?
Yeah, it was brutal.
Right. So if you're traveling then, the smart money is on booking that rental, now, like today.
Don't wait. Hedge against that volatility that seems almost guaranteed. Lock it in.
Exactly. Lock it in now and avoid that potential fall price surge.